Right, you know I'm a dog lover. I was brought up with dogs. My parents always had dogs. When we were young children living in Newmarket, I can remember us having a spaniel and a boxer. Now the spaniel my parents gave to my grandparents because my grandparents were looking to have a dog. My parents decided that 2 was too many, so they passed the spaniel to my nan and pop, and we kept the boxer. The boxer was called Bengo. He was a lovely dog. He was a really strong dog, but he was absolutely gorgeous. And we've got a stinger there, guys. There we go. And since then, my parents had Labradors, Westies, Norfolks, Manchesters. They've had a multitude of breeds. They used to breed them as well. They used to breed, towards the end they were breeding lots of dogs. Don't think they ever made a fortune out of it. My dad went into showing the dogs and being a judge. He used to go around dog shows judging, and he's very good. He loved it. He doesn't do that anymore, obviously, guys. He's way too old to do that now. But yes, he loved it. He really loved it. My parents have no longer got dogs. They lost the last 2 dogs within 24 hours of each other. And my mum said, enough's enough. I can't be dealing with it anymore. I think it's too much heartache when you lose a dog. You all know that. So they haven't got any dogs anymore. But I followed in the family tradition, as have both my sisters. We've all got dogs. Now my eldest sister, she loved the boxer. We had the very first boxer. And so she has boxers. She's had loads of boxers. Now my younger sister, when she met up with her now husband, they loved our Labrador. We had a Labrador called Luke, and she adored Luke. And she used to come and borrow him. She used to say to my mum and dad, is it all right if I borrow Luke to take him for a walk? And they'd say, yeah, that's fine. And she'd take him for a walk and bring him back. And then she'd phone up another time. She'd say, is it all right if I keep Luke overnight? She said, because we're a bit pushed to get him back at the moment. She'd say, yeah, that's fine. So he'd come back the next day. And then eventually he never came back. She kept him. So she kept the Labrador, and she's had Labradors ever since. She's had so many Labradors. She loves them, absolutely loves them. So my sister's a Labrador lover. Now me, my first dog was a little West Highland Whitey. Lovely little dog. We called him Spike because his hair was all stood up. He looked like he was static. His hair was all stood up. So we called him Spike because his hair was stood up. And he was our very first dog. Now in conjunction with having Spike, and Spike was a gift from my parents. My parents actually gave me Spike as a puppy. They said to me, would you like a dog? And I said, really? They said, yes, we're going to gift you a dog if you'd like one. So that was the first dog I had. In conjunction with having the Westie, my wife decided, she worked down the pub pulling pints, amongst other jobs she did, and they used to do a whisky called Black and White, which was a Scottie and a Westie. And there was a lot of things like water jugs and dishes with pictures of black and white Scotties and Westies on. And my wife said, I'd like a Scottie to go with the Westie. So we went out and bought our first Scottie. And yeah, we used our imagination and we called him Scott. I know, but he's a lovely dog. He's a absolutely gorgeous dog. Now this dog was an absolute stunner. He was an expensive one at the time. We went to a top breeder. My dad came along to check him over for us. We had to pick of a litter. My dad picked Scott for us, and he was an absolutely gorgeous dog. And I found a local fella called Mr. Mills, who was into Scottie rescue, where if somebody, say, went into a care home or somebody died, they were no longer able to look after the dog, he'd come and rehome the dog. He'd take the dog away and then get it rehomed. Now he also did grooming, and he showed dogs. He bred Scotties as well, and Sealyhams, another one he used to do. But yes, he bred Scotties. He loved Scotties. So I don't know how I found out about him, but I got in touch with him, and he started looking after my Scottie for me. He used to groom him, trim him. He looked gorgeous. Proper Scottie with the skirt, and he looked really pretty. But he was a pet. He was a family pet. We never intended to breed with him or anything like that. He was a boy. All my dogs have been boys. But Mr. Mills said to me, would you consider showing him? And I said, quite honestly, I said, I'm not really interested in showing him. I said, but if you'd like to show him, you're more than welcome to do so. And he said, I'd love to. So he taught my son how to show my Scotty, or our Scotty. And my son and Mr. Mills used to take him to dog shows. And they started to win, guys. And they won enough competitions to actually be entitled to go to Crufts. And so my Scott the Scotty, I mean, he ended up going to Crufts. He didn't win, but he put a good show on. And that was absolutely fantastic. So that was our claim to fame, having a dog going to Crufts. Obviously, our dogs were staggered in age. So as they got older, one would die. And what we'd do is go out straight away and replace them. So there was always an age gap between the dogs, which there is now with the present dogs. So when one dog passed on, there was always one dog left. And then we'd get a fresh puppy. And then I've always found it easier to train a younger dog with an older dog. The older dog teaches them, it brings them on. And that's what we've always done. And I went Scotty, I had Westie Scotty. I stopped having Westies because I had lots of problems with the Westies, whereas the Scotties were pretty bulletproof. They never seemed to have problems. So I shied away from getting any more Westies, and that's when the Beagle came along. So the Beagle and the Scotty I've got now are number 5 and number 6 in my dogs. They're lovely. The Beagle is now 9 years old, and most of my dogs will live to about 10 years old. I've never had one die before 10 years old, and I've had one make it to 12. So that's the sort of ballpark figure I'm always looking at with my dogs. Now, being in rented accommodation, I'm not supposed to have dogs. Now, I've got the situation arising soon, maybe within the next 12 months, that I will possibly lose my Beagle, and I'll be left with just the Scotty. Don't forget, I'm retiring soon, guys, so I've got another 18 months and I'll be hitting retirement. So that'll be fantastic. And then I'll be with my dog all the time. And if I could get something like a driving job when I finish my main job, I could take my little Scotty with me everywhere, and that'd be fantastic. But yes, I don't think my Beagle will be about, by the time I hit retirement, I think he's going to be gone. As lovely as he is, and I love him to death, yes, they all will eventually go. But he's had a fantastic life. He's wanted for nothing. He's been all over the place. We go on some beautiful dog holidays all over the country. Me and my boys have some fabulous walks like this one. They don't want for a lot, guys. So they have a fantastic life, and they are great companions. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be without a dog. Given my choices, yeah, dogs all the time. Such lovable and affectionate characters. Right, so come on. A lot of you are dog lovers, because I get lots of messages from you about your dogs. Tell me about your dogs. How many dogs have you had? What breeds do you go for? Do you go for the same breed every time? Like my sisters, they both go for specific breeds all the time. Tell me what you're up to. Tell me what breeds you go for and why. And were you brought up with dogs from a young age like I was? Tell me more, guys. Right, I'm going to sign it now. I shall speak to you later. Bye-bye.